Welcome to semifinal week from downtown Amesbury, Massachusetts on Classic Candlepins, along with Mark Ritchie. My name is Kyle Bruce, and today we're going to see our second seed who finished 662 in the roll-off, Beaupre-Marks from East Boston, and he'll oppose Keith Beaupre, who won last week over John Starner. You talked a little bit about Beaupre-Marks last week and the kind of bowler he is and what he's capable of doing on the lanes. What kind of match do you see out of both of these guys?
Last week was a tough week for Keith, but he managed to make it through. He's not going to be able to get away with that this week. Marks is pinpoint accurate. When it comes down to things, he doesn't throw the ball hard, but like I said, he is just methodical. One ball after another is the exact same as the ball before. And if he gets in the groove, it's going to be a long day for Keith. But Keith can throw the ball too. And if he can pick up his marks and get his strikes, then I think he'll be all right. I think this could be a real good match again. It's hard to predict these things in the beginning. I've been wrong, I've been right. But there's a lot of things that can make this one of the more interesting matches we've seen so far.
You know, one of the things that we haven't seen too much so far in this first ladder, Mark, is that we haven't seen wrestlers. We haven't.
Well, we love wrestling too.
That'll be cut number one for the editor there.
Just reset.
3, 2, 1. You know, one of the things that we haven't seen so far in this initial ladder, Mark, is we haven't seen bowlers get into a groove where they string multiple marks together, 3, 4, 5 marks, and really put the pressure on the other bowler. Do you think this could be the week where we see someone, perhaps it could be Beaupre-Marks, who gets into that kind of groove and really puts the pressure on someone like Keith Beaupre, who has that 202 high single, know he can throw hard, throws a lot of strikes?
You know, I think the other thing that may have assisted with a few other matches being fairly low scoring is we had 3 guys who were very new to television. We had John Starner, who had been on when he was younger in the kids program and one of the other shows, but Keith and Jason Paul were rookies when it came to television. Beaupre-Marks, not so much. He's been on the old show, one of the other shows that was on for years. He had been on that multiple times. He's a veteran being under the lights. So I don't think the pressure is going to get to him. I think he's going to go out and just one ball after another, after another, after another. And I really think Beaupre-Marks might get it done today. I really do.
Well, we'll see what happens. We're going to have Beaupre-Marks against Keith Beaupre. The winner of this match will face Jonathan Boudreau for our ladder championship, and we'll be right back to the lanes, and then we'll check in with you after the match unfolds. It's Saturday night. It's downtown Amesbury. That can only mean one thing. Classic Candlepins.
Absolutely.
We're back with our semifinal week. Last week, Rich, we had a... by the way, this is Rich Lamoni. I'm Kyle Bruce. I'm the host of... we are the hosts of this show, and this is a tremendous beginning to this program. Rich, last week we saw Keith Beaupre pull out a low-scoring match, but again, point of the matter is that he's in the semifinal, and this week he's facing Beaupre-Marks. What do you know about Brandon?
Brandon is one of the best bowlers around. I've faced him a number of times. We'll get more into details with that during match. But, you know, one of the best pinners out there, and he is one of the best, I think, at cutting shots over. I mean, you're going to see some crazy spares, and it's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be an exciting match.
Well, we've seen some crazy leaves so far in the first 2 weeks of this ladder, so this will be a great chance to see that exhibition of these cut shots. And the winner of this match will face our number 1 seed, Jonathan Boudreau. We'll be back with our first ball right after this timeout.
Thank you.
Keith Beaupre will get our semifinal week started off here on Classic Candlepins. Keith defeating John Starner last week to advance to this point.
Gets a very favorable leave off the head pin. Almost converted it into a strike. Just leaves a 7 pin. Unless he goes super low on that piece of wood, he wants to avoid it altogether. Cap probably wouldn't work. And right in the face.
Over to lane 6. Light hit, carry 7.
He's on the head pin though. That's what you want to do on those marks. Leaves the 2, 5, and 7. It's got a piece of wood against the 7.
Score that a 9. It'll be a
Up with
26 after 2. And our number 2 seed, Beaupre-Marks. From East Boston. 125 average. High single 187. His high triple is 447, and he starts off with a 9-pin drop and has the 4-pin all alone. Yes.
Right on it. It's a way to start out.
So both of our bowlers with spares in the first.
Rando's up on lane 6. He's on the head pin again. Leaves the 4, 6, and 7. He's got a piece of wood in front of the 6. Maybe if you go very far left on that piece of wood, you might be able to snap it. Plays the 2.
And a 10 box, 27 after 2.
I get the impression there that he wasn't shooting for the spare, he was shooting for the pins, knowing that he was up against a 9 box. Now he's got the lead.
This is true.
That's where your average really starts to jump when you say, I don't need to make every spare. I need to make as many pins as possible with each ball.
There is the bomb.
And he has to interrupt me with a strike.
Wow, my goodness.
That was explosive.
When your high triple's 461, your high 10's 1432. It's a sight you'll see often. The hammer. Has another bonus ball. And he fills the strike with 6.
It's 42 after 3.
Seven box. 49 after 4. Brandon lives in East Boston. He's in outside sales with Garrity Stone in Woburn. Was on the Comcast bowling show as he throws a bomb.
Matches the strike in the 3rd by Keith. Great job keeping pace.
We can see why he won the state triples title with Jonathan Boudreau and Det Klein, who, if he wins this match, he'll be facing in Boudreau.
He's got another ball for his fill. Leaves the 1, 7, and 9.
Surveying that wood to see.
Oh, nice bid. It's how to make 19 out of it.
An early 4-pin advantage in this first string. 10 box. So 56 after 4 for Brandon. The lead is 7. Keith only 23, already with those big statistics. Has the 1, 2, 4 with no wood to help. From one of the Candlepin hotbeds of Lynn, Derry Clark at Market Basket. A little wide that time. As we said last week, the Open Doubles champion with Dave Chestercove. And a 9 box. So a 58 half.
Keith moves over to lane 6. He's on that 3 pin again. He's a cluster of 4 and 2. He's got the 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. He's gonna need some magic up there. Tried to go outside on it, just drifted by the head pin.
I think he had the right idea. When you go outside, I feel like you can generate more action.
Oh, I agree. I mean, a lot of times when you go inside on that, you just take out the 4 and you leave the 2 pins on the right.
7 box leaves him with 65 after 6. The holder of the 5-string house record at the beautiful Woburn Bowlerdrome.
I believe that's his 749, and I believe that is the house record.
Nice bid. So went inside that time. 9 box. A 65 half.
Keeps pace with Keith that box.
Brandon is the owner of some pretty fancy bowling shoes that my goodness.
That's a leave you see every day.
4, 8, 9, 10. Wood against the 9. See if he can move everything from left to right.
And
Oh,
he
what
does
a
it.
beautiful shot. That's a tremendous shot by Brandon Marks there. He has the early advantage in this semifinal matchup.
Appears as though he's dropping it slightly before he releases. Or as he's releasing, I should say.
He's getting some pins to move. Nine box, 74. After 7. You think maybe it's the shoulder that's dipping a bit that's causing him to
It could be that.
leave it out a bit?
I mean, it could be simply 1 or 2 boards to the left, too. I mean, I think it's a good observation. Seems like that could be the case. Everything's going to the right now.
Well, he made a good adjustment there. He got an 8 box. 82. After that spectacular conversion of the 4, 8, 9, and 10, Brandon is up to fill his spare in the 6th.
Brandon has an affectionate nickname of Brando, and it is not from Marlon Brando. It's because on a lot of the scorers that you see, it only fits 6 letters.
Ah.
So they put Brando up there. So I have said Brando a couple of times, and people may think it's an error. But no, that is affectionately known as his nickname.
Yeah, that's CompuScore, I guess, that only allows the 6-character limit. Yes.
Makes the triangle. Nice shot.
92 plus a ball. Box has completed. The lead is 17 in this first string.
Successfully navigated the 2-4-5 last box. On the head pin again, all over it.
Yes.
Turns it into a hammer. Looked like that was going to be a nasty split there, and the 8 fell and the 6-10 went with it.
It's 3 marks in a row for Brandon. That's his 5th mark of this first string. And he's 112 plus 2 balls here, so it's at least a 30-pin advantage. As Keith Beaupre is going to close out first string, and he has the big 5 lead to deal with here. Takes out the left side. Now again, if you're interested in competing in roll-offs to qualify for this program, for details, just call 978-792-5475. It's a 10 box. You can visit us on Facebook, Classic Candlepins Facebook page, or just shoot us an email to classiccandlepins@comcast.net. Four horsemen left plus the 9.
Seems like with that wood behind the head pin, he's going to want to be almost really full on the head pin to drive it back.
Nine finishes the first string for Keith with a 101. Brandon's back up filling that strike in the 8th. 112 plus 2 bonus balls. Well, he bounced that one. I think that took some of the rotation off the ball.
I totally agree with you.
There's an ugly looking split here. He went far right. Fills his strike with 6. 36 the lead. 7 for the box. 125 after 9. Which is Brandon's average. In the pocket and leaves the 3-pin.
He is all over the head pin right now. He's only missed it twice, the string. That is a equation for success.
Mark of a good bowler. Spare in the 10th. $135 plus this ball. Back on the head pin, fills it with 7. And a 142 for Brandon Marks in this first string. So after 1, Brandon Marks is 142, leads Keith Beaupre's 101, and we'll be back with our second string right after this timeout.
And then from this angle, it all makes a star.
I'm a teacher. Let me tell you what I make. I make learning a privilege, not a chore.
Show up
And frustration, a tool, not an obstacle. I make working hard seem easy, and giving up impossible.
And then we're gonna turn the lights and everybody look up.
I make an old subject feel like a fresh thought.
Finally won. What's your reaction gonna be? Yeah, exactly.
And unconventional methods
Okay, what else?
common.
Little tadpoles, frogs, this is their world.
There's nothing.
And then they Go ahead, go, go, go.
I'm a teacher. I make more.
Brandon Marks will start our second string here on Classic Candlepins. Has a 41-pin lead after throwing a 142 in first string in the semifinal matchup. Again, the winner will face Jonathan Boudreau.
Hits the head pin, leaves a left check mark.
Yes.
And the 10 pin.
The left check mark makes a triumphant return. Jonathan Boudreau, the only 700 of our roll-off. 717.
Oh, what
beautiful
a
shot. Starts the second string the way he started the first string with a spare.
I'm glad he is making me look like I know what I'm talking about when I said he will make some great cut shots. He proved me correct.
You always say the right thing. I would never underestimate you. Bonus.
Oh.
And he fills it with a bomb.
Russia.
No doubt about that one. That's exactly the way he wanted to start off string number 2. Keith starts off with a spare lead, 3-5. Matches the spare.
Right.
Keith might be thinking he doesn't want to let this get too far out of hand, but he is very explosive.
He can rally at a moment's notice.
Well, the pins were jumping on that one, weren't
Especially
they?
if he starts hitting, yes, there was a lot of movement there. Especially if he starts hitting the head pin again.
2-5-7-8. Not an easy shot.
Oh, what a bid.
Leaves the 8. Put it right where he wanted to. Just couldn't carry that extra pin.
It looked like initially the 7 pin was going to go right into the 8 pin and take it out. It was going to be a great mark. Just didn't happen.
10 box puts him at 26 after 2.
The one thing I can definitely say about Brandon is he doesn't give you an inch. And if you're struggling and he's struggling, he always seems to manage to have the lead. It's always, and if he gives up the lead, the next box he comes right back. And that's, what makes him one of the better bowlers around.
That one hurt a bit. Bails out with an 8. $40 after 3 so far. On lane 6. Buries it in the pocket and has the 9 pin. I think Brandon wanted to atone for that 2 fill and has another spare.
It's how to come right back.
Already his 9th mark of the match. Keith's looking for a bailout ball right here. Grab as many as he can. opposite Brandon's eight box. And a 9.
Well, that's tough. You're in that situation where guys on a strike fill, throws a 2 fill, goes in the hole, gets an 8 box. You think, oh, I have this great opportunity, and sometimes you overthrow. I think we saw that with his first ball.
1, 3, 8, 9, and 10. He slipped a little bit at the foul line, caused the ball to go left a bit. And score that a 9. So after 4 boxes in the second string, we take a look at the scoreboard. Brandon Marks with a bonus ball to roll is at 50, and Keith Beaupre is at 44. And we'll be back with the conclusion of our second string right after this timeout. Brandon Marks is back up on lane 7 to fill his spare in the 4th, second string. On Classic Candlepins semifinal week. Bonus. Big 8. 58 after 4.
He is just absolutely crushing the head pin, which is what you want to do in a 3-string match.
Yes. Already his 4th mark in the second string. And you can see why he has the big statistics on that resume. 8 is the fill.
You know, he's just so good at turning a mediocre string into a good string. You know, he's the type of guy that can be 80 in the 8th, struggling, you know, splits, whatever, and then all of a sudden turn it into 120. Last 2 boxes.
He's already at a 76 half right now, so he's very comfortable in these surroundings. And that's a 9 box and an 85 after 6. Let's see what Keith can do here to keep pace. Has a split right now, 2-4, 6-10.
I like that wood in the middle. I think if he plays the pin on the left, plays the 2 pin, he's on the right side of it. He should take everything with the ball, and then the ball should go over the other way.
A little too far right that time.
Take out the 6-10.
That's how I would have done it, the way you described it. So, a tribute to your expert analysis.
In that situation, I'd be more afraid to try to cut the 2 pin because the piece of wood was in front. So if it hits the piece of wood, the 2 pin's going to come forward, and it's not going to go anywhere near the 6 or 10.
Right.
You just have to pray that that piece of wood goes over there from the 2 pin, which at that point you're thin, so you're not really going to drive into the pin and drive it backwards.
On the head pin on that second ball, but couldn't get the mix that he was looking for. And
6, 7, 9.
51 half. Lost that one a bit. So he's 58 right now after 6. And if my math is correct, a 68 pin lead here. About halfway through this 3-string match. Again, total pinfall determines who moves on next week to our ladder championship match, and we hope that you'll be joining us for that, because it should be a good one.
Brand on on the head pin again, leaves the left check mark, 2, 4, 5, 7.
Have you gone to the patent office to get that taken care of? So you can get royalties for that?
I would, that would be great.
Yes.
I mean, I'll just take a nickel every time someone says it, because, I mean, it seems like I see that leave all the time, so,
My
you know, in a
goodness.
couple of weeks, I might
you
be
can
ready
retire.
to retire, yeah.
Yes. Of a palatial estate somewhere. Brandon is 95 with a bonus ball. It's one of the few times we've seen him miss the head pin. He's 99 right now after 7.
We'll have to note that and make fun of him later.
We can do that in the post-match interview. I'll hold you to that.
You hit the head pin 17 out of 19 boxes. What happened when you shake that one and got a 4 fill? I should have saved that question.
I look forward to seeing the expression on his face as he comes out of it with an 8 box and a 107 right now. Keith is looking to rebound here, and that's the kind of ball he wants to throw, and got a spare leave. The 5-9 has a clear shot at it. Ooh, the wood cost him the 9. That was a strange reaction, didn't you think, Rich?
Yeah, I mean, looked like he put it in the right spot. I'm surprised that the ball didn't just take out the 9 pin.
9 box. 67. Set here on lane 6.
Just missed the head pin. It's the only one left standing.
Well, he'll pick up at least 1 pin and count here. Pick up 2 if he covers the head pin. She does for the 10. $77 after 8.
Pretty good start that even if Brandon's open these 2 boxes, he's going to have more marks than open boxes. He's going to have 11 already.
Well, he's Brandon Marks. That's what he does. That's who he is, and that's what he does. $9.10. The way that wood is angled perpendicular to the pit, I think the cap's the only way to go.
I agree with you. And he takes it. Proves us right.
Put it down. 117 in the 9th with a ball. His 6th mark of the 2nd string. And it's emblematic of why he is our 2nd seed with 662. 6 fill.
123 now in the 9th.
Oh,
just missed.
That would went right around the 10 pin. Nine box, 132, 274. Very professional, workmanlike pair of strings for our 2nd seed today. Look at this. I don't have any money to give you, though. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, you only owe me a nickel.
Wow, wow. This is
But you
only
didn't actually say left check mark.
well, you know, it's a.
So it's when you say it that you got to pay me.
This is the first ladder of the year, so anything's possible.
Just because the leave shows up doesn't mean you owe me anything.
Well, yeah. All right, that's a good point. 9 box and an 86 after 9 for Keith. Big hit.
Crushes the head pin there. Leaves the 4-7. Nothing else on the deck.
Mark 4 for 100, so he's got a clear shot at this. A little wide. $10. 96. So after our first 2 strings here on Classic Candlepins semifinal week, it's Beaupre-Marks 274 and Keith Beaupre 197. We'll be back with our 3rd and final string right after this timeout. We're back on Classic Candlepins, getting ready to start our 3rd string as Keith Beaupre on the line.
He's got a lot of work to do. But if there's one of the more explosive bowlers out there.
You mean like that?
That's exactly what I meant.
That's how to get it started. Anybody who has a 202 high single is capable of throwing strikes in bunches, and that's what he needs to do. Has another bonus ball. Heavy on number 1. Didn't get the Philly wanted on that strike, but he's got some work to do on this 3rd ball to make it count a little bit. After 2. Beaupre-Marks here to start our 3rd string. I should say his 3rd string.
Well, it's our string together.
It is, yes, I suppose. I don't want to be selfish. Light in the pocket, but carries 9. He's got the 7 pin. And the wood rolling back. See if it goes. Yes.
Nice shot. I was going to say, anywhere left of the red line should be good. Brando's 3 for 3 on singles today.
This is 13th mark of this match if I know how to add. Bonus. In the pocket again and fills his spare with 9 and has the 10 pin to contend with, and he should have a clear shot at it.
Right at
yes.
it. Picks it up clean.
East Boston native starts the 3rd string with back-to-back marks. He's going to have a pretty nice triple for himself. Keith is looking at 5 pins on the plate right now. There's 1, 2, 4, 5, and 10.
If he's in that 1-2 pocket, there's a chance that should just explode.
Drove it straight back. Box. Buries it in the pocket, 3-5.
deck. You should just be able to go right at it. He's in that pocket, should go clean.
Takes his time, fires. It was too thin on that one. 9 bucks. So Brandon is back up, filling his spare in the second.
He has a very compact approach. He's one of those ones that leaves little room for error. You know.
Gets a decent mix off the head pin and fills his spare with 6. He's 35 after 2. 1, 2, 9, and 10. This isn't easy, but like you said, he's a man who can make cut shots between that 9 and 10 that time. That's the thing about those shots when you have part of the back row to contend with.
He's better than Scott Norwood. Put it through the uprights. He didn't miss left.
Ooh. "47 yards is not an easy field goal.
It is not, especially in the Super Bowl.
On natural grass. I'm not a Bills fan, ladies and gentlemen. I just know a little bit about football. Brandon Marks knows a little bit about throwing strikes, that's for sure. And he throws a bomb going into our break here in the 3rd string. In boxes completed right now with 2 bonus balls. Brandon Marks has 54. Keith Beaupre 35. We'll be back with the conclusion of our match right after this timeout. Keith Beaupre will be back up to conclude our match here, this semifinal week on Classic Candlepins.
Crushes the head pin there. He leaves the 10 pin. Piece of wood rolling along the deck. Finally gets in the gutter. Leaves him a clean shot right at it.
$10. $45 half in this 3rd string. This will be a little easier.
In similar fashion, he has a 9 drop, leaves the 10 pin. He's got a piece of wood laying up against it.
There it is. Spare in the 6th, 55 plus a ball, and Brandon is back up after throwing the bomb right before our break.
Keith is 2 for 3 on his singles.
First bonus ball. Big 9. He's got the 5 pin. Yes. 74 plus a ball right here. Rich Brandon seems to be very comfortable in these surroundings.
I think he's bowled here a long time. I'm sure this isn't his first rodeo in this place.
Carries 5. Gives him a 79 half. Hit a 76 half last string. Nice bid. That's a 9 box and
conversion for the 10 there.
an 88. already at 362, so he's got a very good chance at 400. Keith blasts down 9. He's got the 7 pin. Yes. Back-to-back marks here. Third string for Keith. 74 plus a ball. And he has a punch out.
Worcester left. 2 Phil. Puts him to 78 after box is completed. It's 7. I'm sorry, 76.
Nice bid, and he converts
Makes
it.
the spare.
3 marks in a row.
Great shot.
Keith will have his best string of the day. In this third string. Brandon will shoot at the 4 horsemen left.
1, 2, 4, 7.
Oh,
Looked like he was going to run it. That looked like a great ball coming in. Surprised the 7's still standing.
the 4 went just to the right of the 7 pin. 10 bucks. 98 after 7. Box number 8 on lane 6.
And he takes out the 1, 2, 3.
That's not something easily done.
No, not at all. He leaves the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's got 2 pieces of wood. You got to play one of them. For me, I would play the one on the left just because it's angled more than the other one. I might have tried to go just a little bit lower on that.
Isn't it amazing with 10 pins on the plate? You take out 1, 2, and 3. There's 2 pieces of wood in the deck, and the only pin that's on the deck is the head pin. That went into the pit, I should say.
Yes, correct.
That was a 9
Makes a
box
great
on
9 out of
107.
that.
Yes. Keith is back up. 3 marks in a row. Working on another spare here. He's 86 plus a ball. He's off the head pin, but carries 6. Brings him to 92. He tried to go outside that time in the head pin and just missed that one.
Takes it out.
Nice check. So 102 after 9, and next Saturday night will be Ladder Championship number 1 of our show.
Blast through the head pin. Manages to carry the 7 and the 10 out of the eagle. Leaves the 2, 3, 4, 6. Which is quite an array.
$7 and a 109.
Finishes with a 3-string total of 306.
It's Brandon's last 2 boxes of the semifinal. He got away with it a bit. He's got the head pin plus the 5, 8, and 9. on the object, but
Yeah, I think I would have hesitated to use that wood. I think he had the right idea. Makes the 10.
117. Right now he's at 391, so 9 for 400. Good shot at making that happen. 1, 2, 4. Spare leave.
Needs 1.
Brandon will be open the last 5 boxes of the 3rd string, but
Takes it for the
closes
10.
it with the 10. 127 in the final. And a 411. So, the conclusion of our semifinal match sees Brandon Marks move on to our ladder championship to face Jonathan Boudreau next week. He defeats Keith Beaupre today, 411 to 306. We'll be back to speak with our bowlers right after this timeout.
I'm only 17, but I know about investing. Believe in something, buy shares in it, watch it grow. So, what if you could invest in the future? The future of kids, like a stock. Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures. When you invest, it helps kids go to college. I could be one of the first college graduates from my family, the first philanthropist from my neighborhood. And if I'm the first, then maybe there's a second and a third. Believe in us, invest in us, watch us grow. My name is Sydney, and I'm your dividend.
Semi-final week is concluded on Classic Candlepins, and we'll be moving on next week to our ladder championship. And right now we're on the line with Keith Beaupre. And Keith, it was a tough match this week for you, and I know that it looked like from where I was sitting that you were trying to make the adjustments mid-match, and that momentum that you built last week against John Starner didn't quite happen today the way you wanted it to.
Yeah, it was another rough match. I just couldn't find my groove, and I mean, I lost a head pin here and there. I finally found it, but it was too late at the end.
Well, it seems no question to me that once you have the object and once you're on the head pin, you throw a very explosive ball. So we look forward to seeing you again. No question about that.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I'll come back. Definitely coming back for this.
Awesome.
Did you find it different switching balls between matches? Was that an issue for you, or did it improve for you, or it made it easier, more difficult?
I mean, it really doesn't make any difference for me, but I mean, it did. The grip kind of changed, which I had to adjust that for the first half of the string. But other than that, it was just me missing the head pin and trying to find my spot on the lane. So that's all it was.
Excellent. Well, we appreciate you coming out, and we look forward to seeing you again, our 3rd place finisher, Keith Beaupre.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good job.
All right, and now we have our today's winner of our semifinal, Brandon Marks, and you just did not let up. You did what your name implies. You marked all day, and all over that head pin, all over the object. Rich talked about the cut shots. You made a few of them, and it's a great exhibition of bowling, going over 400. 401. I can't add. I said 411. 401.
Yeah, thank you. This is definitely a spare game, so you want to have your second ball rolling, and just hope the leaves work out and you can capitalize on them.
One of the things that Rich and I were talking about earlier is that this really is a game of spares and 10 boxes, and that third ball really makes a big difference in raising your average, and I certainly see that in your bowling.
Absolutely. That's the beauty of Candlepin. You know, every ball counts. You're not going to win this game with strikes. You're going to have to go out there and be accurate every single ball.
The best part is that we have a tremendous championship show in store for our viewers and for Rich and myself. Jonathan Boudreau, 717, the only 700, and familiar with this house, 1399 for 10. How do you feel going into this ladder championship final?
That's just a tough match for anybody to walk into. Hopefully I'm on the head pin again and I can hang with them. He's another one that just pins. He gets a lot of spares, and you just do everything you can to keep pace.
I can't wait. Are you excited?
I can't wait for this. I'm sure it's going to be an epic match, and it's going to be back and forth, just like we expect from these two bowlers.
Next week, Saturday night, the ladder championship. It'll be this man, Brandon Marks, against Jonathan Boudreau. We look forward to seeing you for our entire crew and Rich Lamoni. My name is Kyle Bruce. We'll see you next time on Classic Candlepins. So that's the way semifinal week ends on Classic Candlepins. Brandon Marks moves on to the finals against Jonathan Boudreau next week, throwing a 401 and 16 marks to his credit. And your prediction came true about who is our second seed for this match, Mark. This should be a great championship match. Let's give our viewers a little preview on what we expect to see.
Jonathan Boudreau, he's 19 years old, and he is making more noise than anybody that I can remember, at least in the last 5, 6, 7 years coming out. He's come to the pro circuit, done nothing but win. And if he hasn't won, he's come in second. He really has been that good. And at 19, it's ridiculous. He's a talent that the game has been looking for a very, very long time. Brandon and he have actually become friends in the last, couple of years. They've gotten pretty close, so this is a real good buddy versus buddy match. And although the scales tip towards Boudreau's favor, you can't rule out Brandon. I mean, after what we just saw him do, he had to have gone 20, 23 for 30 on the head pin out of all his boxes. And then he goes 16 for 30 in his marks. I mean, that's how you throw 400 right there. It could really be a phenomenal match to watch. And I'm looking forward to it, to tell you the honest truth. Jonathan going 700 in the final and Brandon going 660. But I was watching them both that day, and neither one of them missed anything. Jonathan just scored 50 pins higher. That was the only difference.
No, you're looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm sure our audience is. Championship Saturday next week, our top seed Jonathan Boudreau will face Brandon Marks, and we look forward to seeing you on Classic Candlepins.